Welcome to the Databricks Skill Builder series. We're glad you're here.
Hi everyone, my name is Yared Gudeta. I'm a senior solutions architect at Databricks. Today, I'm here to show you how airports manage their operation using data and AI. So right now in my screen, I'm showing you an airport located in Northern Virginia. Here on the widget, you can see that there are different items or different asset types distributed across gates and terminals as such, right? Some of the items can be baggage loader, fuel truck, like to refuel the aircraft, or ground power unit to recharge the aircraft, or it could be also tow truck, right? So airports usually have a lot of asset to manage, buildings, and it could be small vehicles to make sure we get reliable operation across the organization. So this operation needs real-time decision making. So in this demo, I will show you how specific airports could use analytics, data, and AI to make their decision faster. For example, in this dashboard, it shows asset utilization, percentage of asset utilization. So if you look into baggage loader, how much of it is used right now, fuel truck, which one is it idle, used right now. Not only that asset, right? So for example, if you are flying to specific destination, let's assume Dallas Airport in Virginia. Depending on the airline, boarding time, and also recharging the aircraft, cleaning, all that stuff takes time. So you can measure overall the turnaround time efficiency in minutes, right? So to make sure that you are efficiently operating as such, right? You could also see how many available baggage loaders I have and what is the percentage rate, like uh, availability at any time, readiness, right? To make sure that you serve the flights that are coming in and the flight that are going out. So you could look into per airline, right? So in terms of operational cost and saving, how much I am paying for, or what is my operational cost per each airline? For example, in this case, United Airlines flight 5224, United, total operational cost, labor cost, equipment cost to clean it, to load the baggage, all that stuff, right? You could easily measure um, using AI BI dashboard on Databricks. And some airline customers are using our platform uh, to make decision in a real time as such. So now the question is, how could an airport build such a dashboard and also use AI to manage their daily operation, right? So all you see in this is fake data. I generated it using Databricks. So let me show you how I did this demo end to end. I'll go to on the left panel, you can see workspace, and you have SQL portion for reporting, which I have the dashboard, and Genie data room, mainly to use natural language to interact with the data. If you are a data engineer, you could build data engineering pipeline. And if you are a data scientist or machine learning engineer, you use the machine learning part. So now let's go to the code, right? So if I go to my workspace and then inside airport, I have a notebook for airport. What I have done is I have created a data model that represent airport. Airport can have um, asset management data. They could manage ground power unit, tow truck, and so on, right? And also daily basis, you have a lot of flight operation, and some of your devices are they have sensors on them. It could be to measure battery, it could be to measure temperature, and so on, right? You also have historical operational data sitting somewhere in data warehouse, and also your cost data sitting in ERP system or some kind of cost tracking. Could be in Oracle EBS or it could be on SAP. Now, to generate asset data, some of the example that I'm doing here is that a fuel track, or it could be a tow truck. You have seen all this while you are sitting inside the aircraft while trying to taxi out and fly out. You have seen also ground power unit that is used to charge the aircraft. You also have baggage loader, which loads our baggage, right? So what I have done is basically I created a pandas function and then defined asset type, what is the asset probability rate distribution. And also, if you look into airport, they have terminals and courses, ABC, get ABC as such, right? In my case, what is the status of asset, right? It could be in use, idle, under maintenance, or out of service, and I have assigned probability distribution. I created a generate ASL model UDF function that takes number of records that it need to generate, and it generates the data frame for me. Then when it comes to generating flight operation data, I have created airlines, right? United, Delta, American, and so on. And then in Dallas Airport, I figured what would be the traffic distribution, right? Dallas is mainly popular for United and Delta, and I have assigned probability of distribution for other airlines. So, and during turnaround task, whenever a flight lands in and then board customer and leave, actually, it is performing multiple activity. It need to refuel, it need to be cleaned, customer need to board, and if there is a case for maintenance, need to be performed. So, and depending on the seasonality, whether it is summer or winter, this operation could be impacted by weather, right? So here I'm creating a probability distribution on the efficiency to make this data as realistic as possible. So I just generate the flight data depending on also how many assets should be assigned to this data, right? It need to be refueled. You need to have tow track as such. In terms of sensor data, um, usually some of the vehicles on the assets operate using battery, and you have to measure that. And battery life also depends on temperature, right? So all this operational unit, they could be operational or idle, under maintenance, or out of service, right? So that's what I followed. Historical data, depending on weather traffic pattern, any airline could have clear, rainy, windy, snowy, foggy, depending on the four seasons, and also traffic pattern. It could be low, moderate, and high, right? So sometimes uh, if the runways are occupied, there is high traffic, that means you have to fly around until they are clear. So I took all this into assumption and created the data frame. Finally, I also generated cost data. For example, if you have labor cost and equipment rate, right, ground power unit, tow truck, fuel truck, and baggage, I just gave random number how much it costs to operate those as such, right? So using that, generated per flight, what is the labor cost, overtime cost, or equipment cost, or turnaround cost. And then I run a final, generate final data by calling each functions. And as you can see, there is a simple example, right? Asset could have its own asset ID. Asset type could be ground power unit, fuel truck, and then this could be assigned to course D or gate A, um, D1, the latitude and the longitude, the status, right? You could track each asset. And then the flight operation data. You have flight ID, what is the airline, and then what gate is it assigned, how many assets are allocated to it. what is the arrival time, what is the departure time, and what is the total turnaround time in minutes. So, for example, you have to refuel, you have to clean it, you have to board it, and you have to do maintenance in a real time. So overall, what is all this is not just a summation, right? People are performing this task in a real time in parallel. So this is the overall turnaround. Sometimes international flight could take longer hour or um, may not maybe less, right? Because of the size of the aircraft as such, right? Sensor data, each asset have their own battery and then temperature and then status of operation and latitude longitude, right? So it will help us to determine whether it need to be recharged or charged. You will determine in a real time possible or need to prepare replacement. Historical operation data, each flight will have turnaround time, incident impact by weather delay, minor delay because of different condition, right? It could be weather, it could be traffic, it could be temperature, right? So all this will have its own cost, right? Each flight will have its own cost, labor cost, overtime cost, equipment cost, and so on. Now, now I have created this notebook. So what this notebook does is I went into scheduled it inside a job. If I go to a job, I have my own airport pipeline. In this pipeline, I have two tasks. One is to generate airport data. The other is to load airport bronze data. So what the generator does is it saves this data in the cloud storage, in my case, ADLS. Then I use Delta Live table to load it. So now if I go to the run, you can see that the run was successful and then it was able to load to the bronze table. So let me quickly jump into the Delta Live table. So here you could see that I have my table asset bronze, cost bronze, flight bronze, and so on, right? So let me click here and go to let me click here and go to the catalog that I have, and then asset bronze. Inside this asset bronze, as you can see, I have different folders, right? Folder to store assets. This is what I generated, and then cost, flight, historical data, and IoT data. So now the question is, we have first generated file, and this file lives in ADLS storage. So the power of Unity Catalog is that you could manage file, tables, and so on, right? So here, I could assign permission who should have grant to read this as such, right? So Unity Catalog can help you manage files and also tables. Let's go to Flight Bronze, for example. If I go to the Flight Bronze table, I could look into the generated table. I could see permissions who have access to this table. What is my lineage, right? In this case, if I go to the lineage, I basically generated this file, this table out of a flight a file in a flight folder. And then as you can see, I could look into the schema. And if I'm using this for maybe dashboard, what kind of dashboard is hooked into this, right? I could see that airport operation dashboard is hooked to this. And then I can also see if I have a notebook that will consume it. If I need to run insight about this data, I have the inside dashboard, and I could also measure data quality. I could define whether time series snapshot or inference. I could do that as well. Now, with that said, all these tables are generated. Asset table, which has all asset information, asset ID, the asset type, location, latitude, and longitude, right? Great. So the files are generated using Delta Live table. Real quick, I'll talk to Delta Live table. Let me walk you through why I have used Delta Live table. So if I show you my code here, it is going to another browser. So since I'm recording one tab, I'll open and show you my Delta Live table syntax. Here, I'm saying, hey, create asset bronze from this folder location in volumes sitting in ADLS, use cloud files. Cloud files is nothing but is autoloader. So the power of autoloader, when I was integration architect back in the days, what I have done is that whenever I need to process files, what I have done is basically with Java, I process one file at a time and store it in a archival folder whenever I finish processing the file. The power of this autoloader framework is that you don't have to move the file to any other location. It incrementally processes the files when they arrive, and you can have as many files as you can in this directory, and it knows what is processed, what not, and process it for you. It evolves with the schema. If the source system changes, it evolves with the schema as such, right? Then I also did the same, right? Flight bronze, I went to the flight folder and so on, right? Super simple. I'll go back to my Delta Life table and then load airport bronze, right? Here, if you look into the pipeline settings, super simple, type the name, tick the serverless. I love serverless. And then what is my budget from cost perspective? Define that and then pass the paths where your notebook is, which I just showed you. And then define Unity catalog as where I need to store it, this catalog name and the schema. And this would be part of my job pipeline, right? So this is part of my job, which is task one is to generate the data. Task two is mainly to generate the tables. Perfect. Now after I generated the text, what I have done is I built the dashboard. If you look into the dashboard here, you can embed image. If I can show you in the draft mode. In AIBI, it is super simple. If I double click, what you have to do is just pass the paths of the image from the web. And then I'll switch back into before I switch back, right? So in order to display map on Databricks AIBI, for example, in my case, I'm querying asset bronze and then select point map. After you pick that point map, you pick up latitude, longitude, and then what are the asset type you wanted to display? In my case, baggage loader, fuel tracker, where are they in exact location of the airport, right? So you could pinpoint, for example, if I hover on this blue, it says ground power unit. Probably it could be in a specific gates charging aircraft, right? So now, if imagine if you are airport operation manager, having this power to see where all your assets are, and then looking into asset utilization rate, what is the performance or turnaround time efficiency per airlines, and being able to see what is flight delay pattern based on traffic, right? So let's say if you have high traffic or at the same time 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning, if you expect to have high traffic, what is that traffic introducing you from delay perspective? And then with low traffic, how many minutes as such, right? You could see this in a real time. Or if you are interested in, for example, a specific airline, in this case, if I say Delta, and then I could look into the detail of each airline, flight number, and then what would be my cost, and so on and so on. Now, what is AI play in this, right? So, what Databricks has done is we have a tool called Genie, which is data room. Imagine yourself if you are before I talk about Genie room, or let me talk about uh, what is data room or Genie room, right? So data room is basically a low code no code platform mainly built for business users. Let's say you want to talk to the data using natural language. In this case, what I have done is if I go to a setting, I have created airport operation Genie data room and provided description about this room, and I have serverless warehouse associated to it, provided my table location, and then I said, hey, these are the most question you get from the business. What is the asset utilization rate? What is the runaround time as such, right? It knows I'm providing hint, and also you could provide instruction, right? Instruction about the data set, definitions and jargons and sample sequels as such. You can also can look into schemas of each data, right? For example, cost, bronze, you could see flight ID, labor cost, and so on, right? You have this insight. So what it does is this is an AI agent system under the hood. It learns all this metadata, and then based on that, it comes up with query. So for example, if I say, uh, tell me about data set in this room. If I hit that, it goes to the backend server or the SQL warehouse and then generate query. It is telling me that, hey, Yared, you have cost bronze, historical bronze, flight bronze, and so on data. Perfect. Now, imagine for a second, if I am an airline operation manager, uh, and then if I have a question, and if my question is, for example, if I say, uh, how efficiently are our assets utilized across different time by day and season? So what it does is it takes this natural language. It will look into the data. It is thinking, basically looking into the tables and the schemas, and then it is trying to generate a SQL. In this case, if I look into the SQL, it tried to look between different time, and then for some reason the result is not coming up. But if I go back to my instruction one more time, if I say, tell me utilization rate of assets, or if I say, so it is telling me that, hey, you have baggage loader, tow truck, and fuel. This is a utilization percentage. If I want, I could represent it using bar chart. Uh, so it shows that, hey, baggage, fuel truck, you have 50% utilization, and so on, right? Remember, this is static data I have generated using just function. But imagine if this is real data set and you are typing your question, say, what is the average response time of asset to reach to their get or as such, right? So it will look into data set inside and it will be able to answer. So I'm sure you have got insight about how airports could use AI BI dashboard to manage their operations and asset in a real time using Databricks, and also interact with the data set under the hood using natural language. Thank you for watching this demo. If you have any question, or if you are an airport looking to build such functionality, you could reach out to me or your Databricks representative. For more insightful content like this, you can follow me on LinkedIn.